Session 389, Chapter 3, Verse 54, a continuation.
وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ.
And the disbelievers schemed. God also schemed. God is the best of schemers. Chapter 3, Verse 54. Allah forewarned His messenger Jesus that evil plotters were scheming against God's message. There was a battle brewing between the forces of corruption and those of truth and justice. Thus, Jesus called for a group of the faithful to stand by Him. God says, "And when Jesus sensed their faithlessness, He said, 'Who will be my supporters toward God?' The disciples said, 'We will be the supporters of God. We believe in God, so be our witness that we submit to Him.'" Chapter 3, Verse 52. Every believer represents an independent faith unit, and it is his or her duty to defend the faith and embody God's teachings in all aspects of life. Take the example of how Islam was spread by the honest trade and the exemplary character of Muslim merchants. Every Muslim, including you, is an ambassador for Islam chosen by God to adopt the behavior which represents faith. More importantly, it is your duty not to give the opponents of Islam an excuse to fault God's religion through your improper behavior. The conduct of corrupt Muslims is the weak link used by the opponents of Islam to attack and discredit the faith. For this reason, you will find that when outsiders and theologians of other religions take the time to study Islam properly, they conclude that it is the true religion of the heavens. Similarly, people who come to know and interact with upright Muslims have a very favorable view of Islam. Others often reach false conclusions about Islam when they judge it by the behavior of some ignorant Muslims. Fair thinkers always distinguish between the doctrine and those who claim to follow the doctrine. Some of the most populous Muslim countries, such as Indonesia, had never been conquered by Muslim armies. Rather, it was the Muslim merchants' conduct that attracted the inhabitants of these lands to Islam. When people saw these merchants' upright conduct, humility, and honest dealings, they asked, "Who taught you to be such a wonderful person?" The answer came, "Because I am Muslim." God says, "Who could say anything better than someone who summons to Allah, acts rightly, and says, 'I am one of the Muslims'?" Chapter 41, Verse 33. Take note that the call to God is done through the tongue and good deeds. In fact, good deeds are the true testimony of your faith in God. It is never enough to say, "I am a Muslim," while acting to the contrary. God says, "O you who believe, why should you say what you do not do?" God detests the inconsistency between your words and your actions. Chapter 61, Verses 2 and 3. Prophet Jesus was surrounded by a corrupt society that detested his message of compassion and justice. They plotted to destroy the new religion. Thus, he, peace be upon him, needed a group of companions who were exemplary in their behavior and ready to sacrifice for the faith. We find a similar example in the companions of our beloved Muhammad. Most were victims of a corrupt system, so they truly valued the new teachings of Islam. For the same reason, the elite tribe of Quraysh hated the new faith and tried to stop its spread, going as far as plotting to kill Muhammad. The companions would take turns guarding him, putting their own lives on the line. When Allah instructed the Prophet to migrate to Medina, he, peace be upon him, had to do that secretly. Ali bin Abi Talib, may God be pleased with him, slept in the Prophet's bed to mislead the Meccans. When they broke into the house to kill the Prophet, they found a different man, Ali, in his place. The story of the companion Omar, one of the fierce warriors of Quraysh, also comes to mind. He migrated in a very different fashion. Omar, may God be pleased with him, rode his horse to the center of Mecca and loudly declared, "Whoever wants his mother to be deprived of him, make his wife a widow or his children orphans, then meet me behind this valley, for I am migrating to Medina." Here you may wonder, why didn't Prophet Muhammad, who enjoyed the full protection of God, migrate in a similar fashion? Why did he do it secretly? We answer that Allah sent His messenger to be an example for all humanity, especially the weak and oppressed. The rich and powerful can protect themselves in most circumstances. The weak, on the other hand, often become victims of circumstances. Thus, Muhammad, the messenger of God, was their leader by example. Abu Bakr al-Siddiq made the trip from Mecca to Medina with the Prophet. He, may God be pleased with him, tore pieces of his clothes to plug cracks in the cave where snakes may live. Abu Bakr used his body to shield the Prophet from harm. The companions believed with all their heart that the survival of the messenger of God was more important than their own. They trusted that God's religion would benefit humanity as a whole. This is how God supports His messengers over their enemies when they plot and conspire. He says, "And the disbelievers schemed. God also schemed. God is the best of schemers." Chapter 3, verse 54. And in another chapter, "They made their plots, but even if their plots were to move mountains, God had the answer." Chapter 14, verse 46. It is as if the Almighty says, "You will never be able to overcome my messengers, neither by confrontation nor by plotting." Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, enjoyed the protection of the Lord and the support of the disciples, regardless of how evil and grand the plots of his enemies were.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Convey my teachings to the people, even if it is only a single verse." Please take a moment to subscribe and to share with your family and friends. Visit us at www.qurangarden.com.